Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us today. We're going to try and go through all of our standard products and just a few of our engineered products pretty significantly quickly so that we can just kind of give an overview of the products that MTH has to offer. Um, some of you may be very familiar with our products. Some of you may be new. So this is a good refresher if you've been dealing with us for a long time, uh, or um, or you'll get some new information here. So we'll go ahead and get going. First off, my name is Scott Carlson. I do all the marketing for the company and all the training and the website and a whole bunch of other things. I've been with the company for almost 26 years now. Joining me is Jim Shackman. He is our Mid-Central uh, sales manager, and Dan Orr, our newest addition to the MTH team. Uh, he is our Southeast Regional Sales Manager. He recently took over for Bob Weller, who retired. I know many of you knew Bob, and so Dan is now the go-to man for that area of the country. So we'll go ahead and get started here. We're just going to go over some of our standard products. First thing to know is, what is a regenerative turbine pump? Real quickly, a regenerative turbine um, builds up a high amount of pressure in just a single impeller. If you're familiar with the centrifugal pump, it's a really simple concept. The water goes in, or the fluid goes in the center and then gets dispersed through the vanes of the impeller and then goes out the volute. It gets touched by, a vane gets touched by a fluid one time before it moves out. If you want higher pressure with that kind of a system, you need to add stacks of centrifugal pumps to have it happen multiple times. A regenerative turbine pump uses very similar motion, except that the water is introduced from the top, where it is worked on both sides simultaneously and multiple times throughout the process to build up pressure each time. So each one of these actions is almost like a centrifugal stage inside of one impeller, and that's where the regeneration comes from, and that's how the high pressure gets built. Um, just to give you an idea of the scope of MTH's products, not including our HP series, that's one of our newer series. We have over 198 individual models. That's 198 curves of pumps that can be selected, and that is over 3 different major materials: bronze fitted, all iron, all bronze, and stainless steel. So bronze, iron, and stainless are the 3 major materials that we deal with, plus all of the optional seals and O-rings. So there are millions of combinations that can be made to put together one of MTH's pumps. When you look at our scope of the range in which our pumps function, we max out at about 2,300 feet, which is of around 1,000 psi, and we can extend our line all the way out to run out of 160. So basically anything within this area we can pump as long as it's clean fluid, we can handle. So we'll start with our smallest models and we go up from there. Our first model here is the P31 series. It is available only in stainless steel. It does have the option of having a built-in relief valve inside of the pump that just goes from the discharge back to the suction side to help really tune in any given pressure. It also has a feature where you can adjust the casing out to derate it to a smaller head capacity curve. So one pump will do this entire range all the way up to 350 feet, anywhere between a gallon a minute to almost 5 gallons a minute. One of the main reasons we came out with it was to be able to compete with another pump manufacturer called Procon, otherwise known as a Fluidotech. They have a sliding vane pump that we can do many of the same pressures and flows, but we can do it in a continuous motion, pulsation-free flow, and without any parts touching. The next series we have is our T series. So we have a T31, a T41, and T51. They're available in the T31s are available in all bronze and stainless steel. Vary from up to a half gallon a minute, all the way out to about 10 gallons a minute, up to 300 feet ahead. For those of you unfamiliar, we publish all our curves in head and feet. That's a universal measurement for any kind of fluid. In water, in terms of the properties of water, that work in PSI, 1 PSI equals 2.31 feet of head. So 230, so you're looking at about 120, 110, 120 PSI is about the max range for the T31s. They have a special mounting to them that we make to keep the construction more compact. We call it a D3 dual face mounting. It's very close to a 56 C face, except the shaft allows for the mechanical seal to be directly mounted to it rather than using a shaft sleeve. Because of this, we have custom motors that go to these. If you wanted to do a motor that we did not have available through that custom motor, whether it be an explosion proof or some other rating, we do have this 56 C face adapter that allows us to mount any 56 C motor onto the T31 series. Next is our T41s. The T41 is the standard, and then we have this E41, which is a version that uses the same internals and the same mechanical seal as the dual face. So it uses our custom motor, but it cuts down the number of parts, gets rid of the shaft sleeve and collar, and the OEMs like it because the motor that goes on the T31s or the E41s is slightly smaller than the standard 56C motor. So in situations where you have tight spaces in a cabinet, the E series is usually the way to go. Any other application, the T series is our standard and pretty much the standard for everything. So ranges of the T41s go from about a gallon a minute, sometimes even a half gallon a minute, up to running out around 24, 25 gallons a minute. And I should mention each one of these models is a different vane and impeller size and a different water channel size. So if you had an E, you could not say, you know what, I need a little more flow, let's put a J in there. It doesn't work that way. It's a completely different pump head that would go that way. So next we have the 51s. We have the T51, the E51, which again uses that smaller motor. And then we also have our M51, which is an inline version of it where we replace the casing with a foot-mounted vertical version. And then we also have the availability of putting flanges on the T51s. So we have several models of those. We can actually get out almost to 50 gallons a minute with those. And we can hit heads at 700 feet, about 300 PSI or so. So these, a lot of people ask, you know, what's the differences in the motors between the T series and the E series? With the T series, you can get any 56 C-face motor up to 3 horsepower. After 3 horsepower, it's another different kind of a motor that we have available. But this is the dual face motor. It's got this different shaft. It's got 2 different mounting plates. This one would be for the T31s and C series. This one would be for the standard 56 C-face motor versus the standard 56 C-face motor, which gets a shaft sleeve attached to it before it can accept the impeller and mechanical seal. So the availability of motors and mountings, the 41s and 51s use a C3 motor up to and we can get up to a 15 horsepower motor with that, or we have flex coupled available. We have explosion proof, different kinds of shaft seals and mechanical seals and everything, and elastomers and everything else. With the 41s, we do have our sealless can version. It's actually our X41, which I'll show you in a minute. And then our E41s and E51s, those can only go up to 3 horsepower because that's the limitations of this special motor, and it's only available in a single phase ODP or 3-phase PEFC. And then our standard materials of construction, again, we're bronze fitted, all bronze, all iron, and stainless steel. So next we'll look at the M series. So we have the M50 and the L50 series. The 2 pumps are pretty much the same. The L50 series adds an inducer, so it adds an extra stage to it that allows for lower NPSH. That's not positive suction head for basically for doing hotter fluids or lower vapor pressure fluids. So with these, they are basically the same pump as the T51 pump, except these are configured with channel rings so that they can have multiple stages, going from 1 stage up to 5 stages. And these, we have the close couple vertical, available in ODP or TEFC. Right now, we have a limited amount of motors, so if you have something higher than a 5 horsepower motor, contact us and we'll see if it's one that we can do at this time. Otherwise, we can always do any one of our pumps as a base mounted option with a coupling and guard. And then this is the inducer. If you need the lower NPSH, you can add the inducer. Next, we have our flex coupled pumps. These are pumps that they don't have a close coupled option. They are just the pump only, and we can add the coupling guard motor and motor bracket if base if necessary. So we have our 140, 240, 180, 280, and the one in any one of our pumps, the one means that it's a standard regenerative turbine pump. When we add the 2, that means it has the inducer added to it for the lower NPSH. So both pumps perform the same. I believe the inducer adds about a half horsepower needed to drive the pump. But we have the 140s and 180s, different flows ranging anywhere from just a couple gallons a minute up to 60 gallons a minute. And these can hit a little bit higher pressure than our T series. And all of these run at 1750 RPM. The T series all run at 3450 RPM, but could be run at 1750 if needed. So we have our 1750 RPM motors, anywhere from a 1/3 horse up to 20 horse, bronze fitted, bronze ring, all bronze, all iron, and stainless steel. Temperature limits for almost all of our pumps are up to 250. The standard steel that goes to almost all of our pumps is carbon versus ceramic, and that is a 230-degree limitation. But if you upgrade to a graphite-loaded silicon carbide and use flush lines, you can up that temperature up to 250 degrees. Again, when you add the inducer and diffuser, you can lower the NPSH, making it a 200 series. And then next we have the 150, 250, 160, 260, 170, 270, which basically means it's standard pump versus inducer pump is the 1 or the 2, and then the 50, 60, and 70 are 5-inch, 6-inch, and 7-inch impellers. Approximately, that's not an exact measurement. And then with the individual models, they'll all have a number behind the 5, 6, or 7, and that is the number of stages that you will find on that pump. So in the case of these and the 140 series, they are 1 stage through 4 stage. These we can hit up to 1,150 feet ahead. That is the limitation for any of these pumps. And then we can get out to around 150 gallons a minute is where fluid can no longer go past that amount inside of the pump. So 150 gallons a minute is kind of a hard stop. And these you can use a variable frequency drive, but those are the 2 limitations, are the 1150 and the 150 BPM. And they can go up to 60 horsepower as well. So 1750 RPM motor, anywhere from a 1/3 horse up to 60 horsepower. Same materials of construction as the 140s, and the temperature limitations up to 250. These are a rather large pump, and they're a lot beefier than a lot of the competition. It's got a 500-pound case working pressure. And then again, you can add the inducer to make it a 200 series so that you can operate the pump under lower NPSH. In some cases, our NPSH net positive suction head required can be as low as 1 foot with certain models. Every model is a little bit different. And then we have our C series. We have the 4-inch, 5-inch, and 6-inch. These are available only in stainless steel. We actually match the horsepower with the impeller. There is no trimming of these impellers. They're matched so that you can go all the way from shut off, and because of the open face design, they are safe to run at a shut off condition, all the way up to run out. And at run out, it will be going into the service factor. So you can run anywhere the full spectrum of the curve of any one of our centrifugal pumps without overamping the motor or destroying any parts of the pump. And then we have a version of that C series that we call our DC10. It's operated on a 12 volt DC motor. These get used primarily in the pumper truck industry, but they can range anywhere from 40 psi and go out to about 25 gallons a minute. Materials, the construction for our seals. We have our Type 21, Type 8.1, and our Type 9 seals. And then we have several different elastomers. We can do balance seals and double seals on our flex coupled pumps. And then we have carbon versus ceramic as our standard. Ni-resist is the standard for all iron. And then the graphite loaded silicon carbide is available as an upgrade. And for some of our pumps, we do have this tungsten carbide, which I've never seen anybody purchase before, but it is available. O-rings, we use only O-rings. We do not use gaskets. They are all O-rings. We do have all of our pumps can get seal flush lines added to them. We do have pressure relief valves available to us. Regenerative turbine pumps can run in reverse. We actually have a few customers that will have operations where they need to pump into one location and then back out of that location to another spot. And then we do have our sealless canned motors and several different options that we can customize as needed. So there's some of our accessories. On our C series and on our T series, we can put vertical flanges on them to be able to fit pretty much any tank that has a vertical flange pump already. We have several of them pre-programmed in our CNC capabilities to make any size. So we have them available in our centrifugal pumps and our T-series pumps. We do have what's called a quench gland, and that is when you are going to be pumping fluid that cannot have exposure to the outside atmosphere. This can put an oil barrier between the mechanical seal and the outside atmosphere. This is our 56C face that I had mentioned earlier. For any of our T31s or our C series, if you need them on a special motor other than an ODP or TEFC, we have this adapter that would allow you to attach any motor that's a 56C face motor. We do have relief valves in a couple of different sizes. We also manufacture strainers. So we have a small strainer and a large strainer in several different configurations. And then we don't have a self-priming pump, but we do have self-priming chambers that are available that in combination with the pump act as a self-priming pump. So these chambers would be pre-filled and then they would operate as a self-priming unit. So a little more on the engineered side, we have our X series pumps where they're completely sealless. They don't have mechanical seals. The fluid actually goes in the inlet side is drawn across the shaft through spiral drilled cartridge bearings, and then the fluid would go along this liner along through the back, and then the center of the shaft is hollow, so it can draw the fluid back up to the front where it would go out the exit here. So it does consume about a half a gallon a minute, but it keeps the motor cool, and we use these mostly for cases where you need absolutely no seal failures. And then along those lines, our next stage past that is our HP Series pumps. These are hermetically sealed. They're welded shut pumps. These are wet wired configuration, so you have to have non-conductive and non-corrosive fluids going through them, but they're ideal for freons, refrigerants, and CO2s. So they have a couple different applications they're using those for. One of them is called an economizer package, where they're using the outside air when it's cold out to help refrigerate the unit that they are trying to keep cool. They're starting to use them with CO2 at grocery stores for the same purpose. And we're just getting into where they're using them for two-phase cooling and direct wetted computer circuitry. So they're circulating cooling fluid inside of computers that are completely immersed in fluids. And then along the lines of our engineered products, we took a select few of our models that already existed as T series and 100 series and modified them specifically for the DAF industry. So we've put injection ports in them. We've beefed up the sealing components. We've added flush lines as standards, all stainless steel, TEFC inverter duty motors, all so that we can use them in a DAF system where a single one of our pumps with an air valve and the inlet side of it can replace compressed air, static mixers, any other kinds of pressure vessels or anything else. It can replace all this equipment with just a pump for the purposes of DAF, dissolved air flotation. And that was about it. And I am at 10:30 on the nose. Jim, Dan, did you guys have any comments or any questions?
Yes, Scott, I just wanted to add the fact that all of our pumps are made in America. Our castings are made in America. The only thing that we do not have control over is the electric motors. But everything else is made in America, maybe except for an O-ring or a bolt. But I would say it's probably of the pump itself, it's probably 99% made in the United States. Secondly, if you got any questions afterwards, feel free to ask now, or you can call either myself or Dan. And also, too, we have an excellent inside staff. So if you call into our office and you push 2, it'll take you into the sales department, and anybody inside can help you out.
Right. Thanks, Jim.
No, I'd just like to add, Scott, I thought you did a good job. I think it's a lot to cover in a half hour, and I look forward to meeting everybody. I'm taking over for Mr. Weller, who's with the company 22 years, and I know a lot of people on this call. I look forward to seeing y'all again, but I think all these salespeople want to know is applications, right? Where can we sell our pumps? I think that would probably be good to next round to kind of tackle that, and where can we go sell these suckers?
That's actually a perfect segue there, because I'm actually planning on doing the applications portion of this in about 2 weeks. So be looking for that email.
Perfect.
And if I may
Okay.
add one more thing, our website that Scott is in charge of, it took care of it. It's excellent. There's a lot of useful information on our website. Even there's a cross-reference tab where you can cross-reference such as Grundfos or Burke's over to a MTH pump.
Right.
Yeah, you might
Okay,
note too,
so
Aurora doesn't make these regenerative turbines anymore. They're out of the business. So Scott did a good job making Aurora cross-reference chart, Aurora to
so
MTH. So
we
anybody who's
will
got
go
Aurora pump.
we will go over all of that in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
I appreciate everybody taking the time to visit us today.
Yes, thank you.
If you do have any questions, like Jim said, feel free to give any one of us a call or call the factory. We do have a full trained staff. When you call our factory, you will get a live human. So appreciate everybody's time, and thank you very much.
Thanks again.